Is it true that millennials had a better young adulthood than Gen Z? That's a central question in my last video. And while researching that, I made a survey, as I love to do. The survey got over 5,000 responses. Thank you very much. Okay, which generation are you? So far, half of the respondents are Zillennials, my micro generation, 34% Gen Z, and 16% millennial. I did leave Gen Alpha as an option, and I did not receive any Gen Alpha responses. Shocking. No, I would be more shocked to have Gen Alpha in my audience. Question number 2, did you enjoy your young adult years? It seems like older respondents ranked their young adulthood higher, and then the mean drops lower the younger that you go, if that makes sense. But overall, most people ranked it a 3 or 4 out of 5. Number 3, did millennials have a better young adulthood than Gen Z? I only asked Gen Z through millennials because the other generations don't get a say. So the potential responses were yes, millennials had it better, no, Gen Z had it better, or it's been pretty bad overall. And interestingly, there were similar responses across the board. About 60% of each generation said millennials had it better, and about 40% said it's pretty bad overall for both generations. So that's interesting. Number 4, how hopeful are you for the future? I know, tough question. Gen Z and Zillennials seem slightly more hopeful than millennials and Gen X, but most people are a 2 or 3 on the hope scale out of 5. And question 5, if you could time travel, which decade would you want to be a teen or young adult in? This was intentionally vague, and I know obviously a very tricky question, especially when you consider social issues, civil rights, and other advancements. Depending on your identities, certain time periods are a definite no for you, and I totally get that. But mostly I just wanted to see if each generation would just pick their own decade to test whether it's true that like everyone just prefers their own childhood or whether everyone prefers the decade before them. But interestingly, everyone seemed to prefer the 90s the most. So let's go through this. And I think that does make sense because I think, or I assume people were thinking the 90s aren't too far in the past in terms of like social advancement, but you still get the benefit of less phones or technology. Gen Z's rankings were 90s, 2010s, 2000s. Zillennials were 90s, 2010s, 2000s. Millennials were 90s, 2000s, 2010s. And Gen X was 90s, 80s, 2000s. So I guess, yeah, each generation, still the largest group picked the 90s, but then the second most is probably each generation's own decade, potentially. I know a generation crosses more than a decade. Anyway, those are the results that I can share with you in a brief amount of time. Every time I write these surveys, it's very difficult because I'm not like a professional surveyor. Like, doing this kind of statistical research is obviously a very intense field, and I'm just an amateur with Google Forms. But yeah, I try to do my best to be able to collect little bits of information that can help see if there's anything interesting to highlight in a video, but obviously, like, I'm not doing, like, hardcore studies here. Wish I could. And again, I wish I could read, like, all of the thousands of written responses. I scroll through and I save a lot to my notes, but I just really appreciate how often I get full-on essays. People love the surveys. So if you've ever filled out a survey of mine for a video, I appreciate you. That's really great. I love to hear your thoughts, genuinely. And stay tuned for more surveys because I am addicted to them.